We will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Does everybody have a copy of the agenda? All right. We will go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, we'll establish a quorum. We'll do this by roll call.
I got the agenda.
County Supervisor, BJ Hoffman.
Here.
Sheriff Dave McDaniel here. Ackley, she emailed me, would not be attending. Buckeye. Eldora.
Here.
Hubbard.
Here.
Alden.
Here.
New Providence.
Here.
Owasso.
Here.
Radcliffe. He contacted me, would not be attending. Steamboat Rock. Union.
Sir, yes, sir.
Whitten.
Here.
Iowa Falls.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Item number 4, would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. But first, is there any other additions, corrections, anything to the agenda? Hearing none, would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Bear,
Second.
second by Nearing. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5, approve the minutes from the May 21st meeting. I believe those have been handed out.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dunn, second by Hoffman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6, financials for May of 2019.
You have a copy in front of you of the financials for May. Let's see. On here, it shows up as salary in the odd year. We are still working on that. There was an issue in how the salary had been paid in the past, so it was under a part-time employee instead of a full-time employee, so that's getting corrected, so that, still trying to line up some of these items and with expenses, the kinds of expenses that there are. So so for instance, in, I'll just find it here. Well, I don't see it on this report, but in the chart of accounts and what will show up on the future reports, there's an equipment line, and that really needs to be broke down to smaller equipment like small office stuff that might get replaced more often, larger office stuff like printers, computers, things like that, and then I'd like to add a line item in there that is the larger equipment, like capital type equipment, which is more EMA specific out in equipment that's used in the field as opposed to in the office, so that it gets figured out a little better what the expenses are and you guys have a little better idea where the dollars are at and where they're going. Still working on that. It will be corrected by the July meeting and starting the fiscal year 1920. So that'll get, those accounts will get cleaned up and straightened out with appropriate titles, and the budget will look a little differently when we get that far. But I'm still working with, I've been a little busy this last couple of weeks and haven't been into Jessica's office to get those figured out. I was working on trying to get reports out so that we had them for tonight's meeting, so. So right now, we're looking, it looks good. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of expenses for the year, so we'll have a good carryover. The fund balance, if you look at the second sheet I handed you, the ending balance at this point is $212,575. So that's what we're starting into 1920 with. And I wish I brought 1920 budget with me, but I didn't bring that.
Any questions, comments, or anything regarding the budget? Item number 7, old business. FEMA grant for EOC.
Do you want a motion on that?
To approve it? All right, we'll back up here a little bit. Would entertain a motion to approve the May financials.
I so move.
Moved by Newgard,
I'll second it.
second by Smuck. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7, old business. FEMA grant for EOC upgrade.
So we were all set, and the FEMA grant was actually, the EMPG grant was actually written last fall. Dave and I sat down and we approved upgrading the EOC. And 12,500 is what the federal grant dollars are, and then the 12,500 for the county's share, which is supposed to be the match. We were moving forward on that, getting everything done, and Jody got the contractor, and the contractor brought the wood in, delivered on a Friday, and they were gonna start working on the place the next week, building the wall around the storage area, and at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon, I got an email from Homeland Security Grants Coordinator that said we had to stop work on anything that was grant related because the feds have not allocated any money to the EMPG grant. And typically, in the past, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me, and I've only been at it 5 years, but this is the first time that they've ever done that. In the past, and in fact, the email came out today that if whatever we're doing, we can start writing our summaries and our information for our grant closeout because we expect the money in August. And so they said we'll only do one final report for the year instead of quarterly reports. But this, because the environmental historic preservation portion of that grant is in FEMA at Kansas City, that's what's holding up us being able to do anything. And we can't use county dollars that are considered match for that grant. We can't even do county portion and count it to that grant because it's all wrapped up in the $25,000. So we're on hold until our legislators at Washington DC to decide to put some money into that grant program where it belongs. By September, if September 30 gets here and they haven't put any money at it, then we aren't gonna get it and we'll have to decide if we wanna just move forward and use the $25,000 is already budgeted in the program anyway, because we have to spend it before we would get reimbursed, so it's just a matter that if we do anything prior, we won't get reimbursed.
Clear as mud?
Yep.
It's the federal government work.
Now, personally, and we discussed this last month, I know, we have allocated money every year for building improvements, and we've just never really pulled the trigger on it. I think we've had enough discussion and forethought put into actually still at least chipping away at it as we can, with or without the grant funding. We need to make it a usable EOC. It hasn't been since day one. Again, we'd love to get to that point of holding meetings over there, having training and classes over there, and and, you know, being somewhere centrally located in the state that we can host things, bring people into town, et cetera, et cetera. So I think regardless of the grant, obviously, we don't wanna compromise it, but looking forward, I think we as a commission, would be behooved to continue to push that ball down the field, so. As long as the monies are there, but,
And we will be, in fact, hopefully by July or August, we'll be able to actually meet over there. It won't be as nice as this, because it'll be a concrete floor, but, next week, the supervisors, as I understand it, the supervisors are getting rid of this smart board technology in this room. And so Micah has already got it scheduled for next Tuesday to get moved over there. And then there was a smart capture board, another type of this technology, that they're just gonna go ahead and mount on the wall where it's supposed to go in the first place. We'll get that in, and then we'll be able to do education and meetings over there. We've got the tables, we've got the chairs, restrooms, it's just not upgraded with sealed floors and carpet and things like that.
And the noise and the acoustics will improve once this
Yes.
other gets there.
Yes.
So, you know, I have a lot of people, especially first responders, say, hey, what are you gonna do with that thing down there? Well, we're gonna do a lot with it. It's going to become a multifunctional, multidisciplinary facility that can be used for a lot of different things. So this is the perfect time to move forward and make that a proper emergency operations center
Yes.
with a meeting room and a training facility. It's long overdue, but now's the time to do it, and I think the first responders in the county will learn to appreciate that, and it might bring some other opportunities for training to the county. I know Thomas has done a great job in Franklin County bringing some of the rural preparedness programs in. It's hard to do that in Hardin County right now because of the facilities we have. It's pretty hard to tell somebody, hey, we'd like to have a class, but we don't have anywhere to hold it. We're moving in the right direction to where we can do that, and we'll be able to offer that facility to the DOT when they need to do driver's license station training for the region. You know, Dave can do his training there with his correctional officers and his road deputies. The uses are endless, and it's just long overdue, and I couldn't be happier that we're getting it to a point where it's functional.
The one, to add to that, BJ, the one question that I would ask is, and this was not really in part of the county's match, our commission match. What I'd like to do is go ahead and get the bathrooms, get the partitions and stuff in there and make those so that they are presentable.
Yeah.
'Cause right now, when you open the door to the restrooms,
you're presenting.
Yeah.
They're presentable, all right.
There's no partitions, there's nothing.
Right.
And so I'd like to have Jody be able to go ahead and do that, if you guys are
Yeah.
okay with that expense.
I think
That's
that-
not built into the,
Right. I think that and the ADA compliancy, haven't used the facilities there often enough to know if the toilet's even the right height.
I think it is, and there's,
Okay.
the bars are in there.
Okay,
It's just,
so-
there's no partition,
Yeah.
it's,
The last time I was there was no toilet paper, so anything above.
There is toilet paper now.
Anything above.
Baby
that-
steps.
Yeah, exactly, so I'm happy.
And if we wanna keep the homey feel, I'll get on and see what I can find for some 70s style paneling that we can install over there if we wanna keep this feel, so.
Now, again, we did move it over here because the acoustics were so terrible, discussions like this were nearly impossible.
I'll tell
And
you,
recordings were
we-
just unintelligible.
we had a carpet remnant that we just rolled out, and it was amazing just how much that little bit
Nice.
did. So as we move forward, the acoustics, I think, are gonna get better with every single project that we complete over there. I think we'll see improvement, so.
and there is some, office partition walls over there. So I'll probably figure out, see if Jody knows or who knows how to put those up, or if we can put them up. Because what I'd like to do, is that the bathroom, that big room, and so everybody is sitting here, and you go to the bathroom and you open the door right there. And so what I'd like to do is put that partition wall. It's kind of just a temporary kind of a wall.
Yeah,
It
maybe-
doesn't go clear up,
Create a hallway.
but creates a hallway and separates the dinette, or the kitchenette and the bathrooms, so that people don't have to feel uncomfortable and unprivate. So, if that's okay with you guys, we'll move forward on a couple of those items just to get things
And some of those are just a matter of a couple of us going over there and
figured out.
get moving, so on. Okay.
So is that an action? We don't need to really take any action tonight, that's just,
Right,
For
right,
update.
I'm not gonna spend a big dollar amount on, I'm not going after the floor ceiling and the carpet and stuff until we're sure where the grant stuff's at, cause that's what
right.
that's the stuff we put into the match for the grant.
Do you know where the dollars and cents came in with the contractor to do the work? I know Jody Mesh had explained that he has a couple contractors that do a lot of work, and he was concerned that some of the prices were becoming fairly expensive, and so going forward, he really expressed concern about shopping around.
Yeah, and that was a concern that was expressed to me, that we didn't bid that project out, but, I thought last,
We put a not to exceed on it, I believe.
5486.
oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here in the minutes of last time, a bid from Matt Kane Construction in the amount of $5,486 for a false wall for storage.
And that was the wall with the platform on top
Right,
and.
yeah.
And that, so I think, actually, the bid moving forward was, not to exceed $20,000.
Right, yep.
Yeah,
And we'd still need to get a bid on running water out to the bays,
Right.
make that make that
yeah.
more usable, so.
Yeah, that's right, BJ. We had talked about that because 12,500, but that makes it 7,500
Yeah.
for us to use in other
Yeah.
stuff.
I just know that through some of our other projects, we're finding some of these contractors, I think, are not afraid to ask a little more knowing it's a county job, because there's not enough contractors and plenty of work out there, so I feel sometimes we're looked at as, low-hanging fruit. We're learning that with some of the courthouse projects with the plumbing, or our HVAC system, so it was brought up to me by Jody last week, we really need to do our homework when it comes to these small projects, whether they're 2,000 or 20,000.
And typically, in the past, I try to get 3 quotes on
Yeah.
anything
It's hard
that's
here.
going.
And they're not hungry.
No.
Maybe that's the bad thing is.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. It's just something that I guess I didn't realize it was quite the problem. And
I did,
when Jody brought it up, I was like, he knows. If it's a problem to Jody, it's a problem.
yeah.
Is there a problem with the Matt Kane bid? Do we have to back up on that or anything?
I don't think so.
I mean, to me, with what that's gonna entail, I think that's.
Yeah, it doesn't strike me as unreasonable.
No. Yeah.
Then
No.
Nick has left, so he was working with, they're doing our floors in our jail right now, and I think that's who we were looking at, doing the perimeter of that epoxy.
Ackley.
Yeah.
Ackley painting, because there's only, well, they had one company in and it was exorbitant, and Ackley Painting is the only other one around that does this
Right.
epoxy coating of the concrete and sealing of the cracks and stuff.
Perfect.
So we'll move forward with some of the smaller projects that we
Okay.
can tackle. I think getting Matt Kane Construction moving forward on that would be,
But that's
part of the.
That's part of the grant.
Yeah.
isn't it?
That was the design of the grant, so that one's, but we can do, what might be a good idea is whether or not it's part of the grant, we can always take it out of the grant, because right now we don't have a grant. So we got time to manipulate what's in the grant. Maybe doing the ceiling, the epoxy coating of the concrete in the bathrooms and the hallway. kind of a hallway around the outside perimeter and not do the carpet, but at least get some of that ceiling down
No, I agree. I think
would be a
it's
good
something-
idea.
Yeah, taking those baby steps, getting the stuff that, some of the smaller dollar amount. I think the bathroom stuff, to make it habitable.
I don't think any of us would wanna walk in there, cause truly, even me by myself over there, I go in and lock the door and I just hope like heck that nobody walks in
Yeah.
and decides to try the door.
For a
Yeah, 'cause it's
while,
not gonna
the
stay hot.
temperature difference was happening, you couldn't shut one of the doors.
Right, yeah.
So, okay, any further discussion regarding that?
Just one quickly, we are looking at upgrading the lights, right? Get out of those porcelain barn lights and get into some kind of
Down
LED
the,
ballast or something
down
at
the
some point.
road, but I'll be honest with you, James, it's not that
Oh.
bad in there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I figured on an
It's-
overcast
No,
day.
it's
I didn't know.
good,
It's-
and
Wow.
Jody said he was, I don't know if he's done it, but he was gonna bring some LED bulbs over that he's already got here. So they're less cost to run, but brighter. So he was gonna bring those over and put them in. I don't know if he has or not though, cause that was back,
Well, if it's not bad, hell, you're
I
fine
mean,
then, yeah.
surprisingly, it's not. When we had one little, with the road conditions, we met over there, I think you were there, BJ, when we met with Taylor and some of the
Yeah.
engineer. And it's surprisingly better than one would think, but
Wow.
obviously could be better. But, LED bulbs may be the trick, or we'll explore that again. It's gonna be baby steps, so.
oh, I know how come it's doing that.
Yeah.
Leaning.
We got a
There you
leaner.
go. He's leaning on the.
Your fault again.
I just watched him. He's sliding up and down the.
Okay, any other discussion regarding that?
Are those, tube lights over there?
No, they're just, like James said, porcelain, screw and light bulb.
Okay, and we had these like this in their church, they took the ballast out and put in the LED, a lot brighter.
So, and I know, they did that back, I think, in our jail here a couple years back. They went through and replaced everything with LEDs, and it makes a world of difference.
Oh,
So
it
if
is.
Jody has the bulbs available, we can swap that out. I'm sure it would be a significant improvement. But again, what's there, it's not as bad as one would think. It's doable. So, anything else? Moving on, 7B, new vehicle.
So we talked about this last month, and I got the bid on the Traverse, but I also have the bid on Suburban and Tahoe. So I'll pass those out. Actually, I'm gonna start one set that direction and one set this direction. The one set is multiple, the one pager is one vehicle by itself. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna take this in two things, the vehicle and then the outfit on it. The Traverse is $26,600. That's what the Traverse bid is. I didn't hand that out to you, but that's what that is. The Tahoe and the Suburban. I think the Tahoe is the one that I gave you that has it's a copy. It has the total price with the options of $37,395. And the Tahoe, the Suburban is a one-pager, and it's $40,000, but there is a, that's all of it. Yeah. No, I was looking at the options, and there isn't any, so. The difference is the Suburban doesn't come with a lot of option. The Tahoe has multiple options. Did we get them messed up?
I think we just need
I think we got the one pager, we don't have the two pager.
Oh, yeah, they were supposed to pass on around. Yeah. And
Thank you, sir.
the guys on this side of the room need the one pager if they didn't get to.
Yeah, they got it.
What do you presently drive?
I have a Tahoe right I went up to Tim Eichmeyer's the other day and asked him what the difference in the back of the Tahoe and Suburban is, and it's an extra 20 inches. And when you look at 20 inches, that's the size of a set of cones. So traffic cones and then gear in there, that extra 20 inches. If you go with the Suburban, we're gonna be really close to the 60,000. With upfit, we'll be at the 60,000 mark, 59,000, 60,000.
Are we on 8A or 7B, Dave?
On what?
On the agenda?
Oh, wait
Are
a
we gonna
minute.
go from 7B to 8A?
That's my fault. I
Oh,
made
that's
the
okay.
agenda
I'm
and
just-
didn't,
Okay, so we're,
No choice.
we're,
So, new business or old business?
yeah, well, scratch one of them and
Okay.
we'll make it in one of them. It really is old business because we were discussing it last month, so we'll take it out of the new business and put it back in the old business.
So am I reading you right that you're saying that you would prefer a Suburban over a Tahoe because of the additional space
Yes,
would be beneficial to the job you're doing?
It
Am I
would
reading
be.
that right? Okay.
but
and I'll be the voice of the devil's advocate and reason. I would lean more towards the mid-size SUV, only because cost-wise, and especially finding out that the grant is in limbo, having that extra money on hand may be worth having on hand. Looking at a Traverse, you know, at $26,000 rather, and the Traverse, the state bid, you know, 26,000, and then look at upfitting away from Carl. I think Carl Chevrolet, they don't make any money on the vehicles, so they make their money on the upfitting.
the upfit's exactly the same.
Okay, as
I got
as
those
the
here.
state bid,
It's a state bid.
so the upfit would be done at Caltech then, with the state bid?
We haven't decided that yet.
Okay. So I'm just looking at practicality. I understand that the storage and stuff is of great importance, but I'm looking at, we don't have all the equipment to go in it yet. By the time we acquire that, it may be time for a different vehicle. But in the meantime, looking at mileage, you know, we have Jody's truck to tow, we have an F-450 to tow with. Taylor said that the secondary roads guys' trucks are available, that, you know, the mid-size SUV, in my opinion, is the fiscally responsible thing to do at this point. So, that's something that,
Now, are you referring to the Traverse or the Tahoe?
the Traverse.
What's the difference in size between the Traverse and the Tahoe as far as storage?
Oh, God. It's,
Because you're currently in a Tahoe, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, so
Right.
Traverse is
Well-
gonna be too small.
And I'll tell you, I've got a Tahoe, I just traded mine off, when I traded off with 100 and some thousand miles, I got just under 20,000 trade-in. Our mid-size Explorers that we drive, that road guys drive, they trade off, they're about $5,000. The upfront cost is almost identical. So the trade-in on the Tahoe or the Suburban would be significantly higher than the mid-size. And I think that's something, while we pay up front, you know, that added, you're getting that back. Like I said, I just traded off a Tahoe here a month and a half ago and got just under 20,000 for it. It was a 16 with 100-some thousand miles on it. Our Ford Explorers at that same, are 3,500 to 5,500, because it's the mid-size. So, I mean, that's something we have to keep into consideration too. And I know what, you know, what Taylor's saying, but in that emergency situation,
Well, then we could also look at, I mean, Butler County drives a pickup truck, Bremer County drives a pickup, Grundy drives a pickup, Tama drives a pickup, Marshall has a Durango, Howard County has a pickup. You know, these crew cab four-wheel drive pickups are $23,000 to $28,000. So we're still, saving money. I'm just concerned, the fiscal part really concerns me going forward.
And I appreciate that, but I
No.
don't think we want to take a step backward. I mean, it's, and we've got an F-150, and it's a great vehicle.
Yeah.
Anything JD has in the back of that thing is absolutely filthy, covered in
Yeah.
dust, and, so I mean, depending on what you're gonna haul for equipment,
Yep.
it's, I mean, there's positives and negatives any direction we go.
Yep.
You
I
can
just
buy,
see with-
you can buy an F-150 Ford, a four-door pickup for 20-some thousand.
Yeah.
On state
State
bid.
State bid.
Oh, let's say I should help her.
Yeah, no idea.
You're right. Billy,
I
you
just
cannot-
know with looking for $3 million to buy rock, every penny counts right now.
Thing is, the money for this can't go for rock.
Right, but next year when the supervisors allocate more money, it's a tough sell.
Should've had blacktop years ago, they didn't have to have rock. Like Minnesota did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, I appreciate
Mhm.
totally what you're saying. I just don't wanna see us go into something that is gonna handcuff what they can carry with us or rely on, on secondary roads to tow something for us in an emergency or on a weekend availability. I mean, my opinion, we're finally going in the right direction with the whole EMA getting to where it hasn't been for years and years and years. I just don't know. I don't wanna cut corners in the process.
Nope, and I don't either, it's just the times are a little difficult. I don't think we have the equipment to put in the back, so.
That would be part of the upfit.
Right, but I'm saying, all the other equipment.
Oh, there's a ton in the EOC that's
Right,
never been.
Yep,
And I think, Tom, you said last time, if you tow something, you need something bigger.
Yes.
If you're pulling something, a
But
smaller
what
vehicle.
BJ's suggesting is that I'm not gonna tow,
Okay.
and we call
Well-
somebody else to
well, we
do
have an
that.
F-450 over there.
Okay.
I just would rather use what we already have.
Well, what do they use the 450 for now?
That's our emergency squad. It's the well, Jeff could attest, they're volunteers, and they will do whatever they
Okay,
can
I mean,
for us.
that's-
That being
That's all
said,
it's used for, then it's just,
yeah, it's our emergency
Emergency
squad runs all those. And that's
Yeah.
good.
in other words, it does nothing.
It's got jaws and
Traffic control.
cribbing and that stuff in it. It's
Oh,
outfitted for
okay,
rescue.
I mean, I just,
And again, but, obviously the situation's varied, but you're counting on,
Well, yeah.
on somebody else, and if they're tied up somewhere,
No,
and we need additional equipment.
the reason I was asking that, I thought that this 450 was just sitting.
It
No.
is.
It's like a
No,
fire
but I
truck,
mean,
when they're
well,
needed,
like
they.
a fire truck,
yeah.
yeah, or like our emergency, their equipment truck that hasn't been out of the shed.
Yeah, when they're needed, they jump in and go, so.
Well, it won't start. Battery's dead.
You gotta get down there and work on it.
Not me.
So you say you currently have which, Tahoe?
Tahoe, yes.
I'm assuming after talking to you for more than 3 minutes, I realize that you're the guy that carries a go truck, like there's certain
Yes,
gear you always
there's-
carry with you
Well,
regardless.
part of the stuff in the back is the command portion, so
Sure.
it has a whiteboard, it has file drawer for all of the, incident command forms, and then it has another drawer for some small tools.
And then you have room for whatever you're responding to. If it's a flood, you're throwing sandbag stuff in there. If
Yeah, I
it's-
probably don't throw sandbags in
Well, no,
there.
I mean, empty bags, I'm talking
Yeah.
road cones, empty bags, things like that. Does the Tahoe have room for your daily kit plus enough room for a normal response? Or are you
Yes.
finding that it's small or,
No, it fits the response.
okay. Is the Traverse the other one you were looking at? Did I get that right? I pulled it up and I can't remember, was that one of the ones on the list?
Yeah.
Traverse is on the list, yes.
Okay, and I assume, is that smaller than a Tahoe? I don't know my vehicles. So if you went to that.
A lot
do you-
smaller.
Okay, do you think you could fit your daily, okay.
I don't think the command, I don't know that they could fit a command.
You couldn't fit your daily kit, let alone a response, a custom, okay. In my mind, the Traverse is completely out then, so we're down to the Tahoe and the Suburban logistically.
And cost-wise, the 36 versus 40. So,
Okay. So what all can you get me in the Tahoe that would justify the, I mean, you're seeing, if you say the Tahoe, I'm sorry, the Suburban would be better than the Tahoe, you said road cones, what other stuff can you comfortably?
right now I'm carrying fire gear, and I've talked to the fire departments around, and one of them's probably gonna put me on their department and
Sure.
give me another set of gear and SCBA. That just fits.
Do you respond to, not the fire departments you're on, but the fire departments that you're not on? Do you find that you go to a lot of just regular fires in your EMA role?
Yes.
Okay. Would turnout gear
House-
be beneficial?
House fires,
Would turnout gear be beneficial to have in the truck in those situations in case they were shorthanded or?
in fact, today was a prime example. I was on my way to Des Moines. I didn't have all my gear in my truck because I had left it at home, but responded to a trash fire, dump truck had caught on fire and dumped his load on the road. Radcliffe showed up with 2 guys.
But you could have jumped in and helped a little bit, okay.
I still did, but
Messed up your picture.
Well, and
just got my shoes muddy, so.
and on that note, I know, I think it was the bale fires up by Alden here a couple weeks ago, you were on a hose. And a lot of, like, he'll show up at a house fire to not burden the fire department with some of the logistical issues, or taking the family, are they gonna be displaced, do we need to start finding sheltering for them, Red Cross, whatever, so I mean, his role is gonna vary whether you got 2 firemen that show up on scene, or if there's 15, assume a different role, whatever, but I mean.
Something like
Do
that.
you stay in roll-up hose then?
I'm sorry?
Do you stay in roll-up hose?
Yes. In fact, I-
So,
He only sticks around for the fun stuff. to clean up the bags in.
I helped them
It's part of mutual aid.
put their hose away today.
How much bigger is the Suburban than, the- I mean, do we have a square footage?
20 inches.
20, okay.
20 inches depth
Long.
wise, and then you have
Whatever the
width.
regular width is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I know
20
you're
by-
telling me it's beneficial.
20 by 4 foot, but with, I mean, I understand BJ's concern
Oh,
too,
yeah.
so the Tahoe is $4,000 less.
But if you're telling me you can fit more gear and you can be rolling, I'm fine with this is where I'm at. I'm fine with Suburban if you can tell me you're gonna be better prepared for whatever may hit the fan.
Well, the command box, I mean, the guys that are carrying, like the pickups and things, those guys aren't carrying their, you know, I carry a full set of ICS forms and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
right there, so that I can start in fact, I did it in Owl Falls when we responded to the flooding.
And the plus side was flipped up the lid, pulled stuff out, they're working on computers, everything, right there out of the vehicle versus running back to offices and
Sure.
making phone calls because people are on different sites because they need computers. Everything was basically based out of
In
the
fact,
vehicle he currently has.
We did it the other day in Alden, it was raining, we were waiting, and I think a captain or the chief of the EMS was standing there, we pulled the back up, just opened the back lid, and then we were able to talk on the radio out of the back to Air Life and wait out of the rain.
Put a cot back there, sleep in it.
That'd be a little tough, but
Just no fun. All right.
the seat does lay back, so it,
I'm not scared of the Suburban if he tells me he can use the tool. If it's the right tool for his job, I'm fine with it.
Is that a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the Chevy Suburban as proposed.
We have a motion by Nearing.
I'll second that.
We have a second by Bear. Any further discussion? Go ahead and just do this as a roll call vote. County Supervisor Hoffman?
No?
Ackley's not here, Buck is not here. Eldora?
No.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Alden?
Yes.
New Providence?
Yes.
Wawasa?
Yes.
It won't be an issue, but Radcliffe Bennett called me by a proxy vote. He was a yes for the Suburban if it was between the Suburban and the Tahoe. Steamboat Rock? It's here. Union?
Yes.
Witten?
Yes.
Iowa Falls?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. All right.
Okay, the next item is the upfit for it. BJ contacted Keltec and they came up and we discussed the equipment, the upfit for it. And they're actually, Carl is a little cheaper. They include the decal, the graphics on the Carl Chevrolet as opposed to Keltec. But you can have both
Are
of
they
those.
same?
Yeah, those are all the same. We'll go around and then this one will come around to you.
I'll make sure you get it.
Thank you, sir.
While we're reading, is there anything major that you should call out to our attention, or just basically like a small
No.
car loadout, or?
It actually is the same as what's in the Tahoe right now.
Okay.
And the graphics, Keltec did that out. They don't do the graphics. That would go to another company, but Carl does the graphics right there, and it'd be the same graphics that are on the current one, except for say in Hardin County instead of Franklin County.
No spinners on the wheels, come on.
I just handed it out. It might come back.
Does your laptop have cellular connectivity on it?
No, I use a
Hotspot?
hotspot, but there is discussion about doing it the same as the patrol car with a outside, a vehicle.
You guys do the
Because
Sierra
the-
Wireless GX4
Because
stuff,
the
or, is there a big box in the car?
hotspot doesn't
Under the
go
seat.
everywhere.
Perfect.
I hope if you go with Caltech that I don't get this bill.
What's that?
Oh.
Delivered to Jeff Fiskus. Do I have a second? Just food for thought, we do all of our patrol cars through Carl. I'm only speaking on that because that's where I have experience, we have used Keltec. Never have heard anything negative about Keltec. We do all of our patrol cars through Carl. Zero complaints, not by any means trying to sway, just given information that we have. Plus, they do kind of a complimentary striping of our patrol cars at no additional cost.
It's nice, because your deputies used to do that themselves.
Right. Yeah, they're not complaining at all.
Cracks me
So,
up.
But we've had good luck with them. There's obviously multiple vendors out there and that type of thing. I can just attest to the experiences we've had with Carl's always been positive. They'll come pick the car up, they'll drop the car off, so we're not paying overtime to run people's places, or two guys driving to Ankeny, drop the car off and coming back and paying them to go back down and get it. There's little incentives that, or I guess courtesies that they have. I'm not saying Keltec doesn't, again, I haven't worked with them, so.
I've worked with Keltec quite a bit. They're very knowledgeable and good. They have a great support program. Their policy is if we do the car and we bring it up and there's any problem, you're not gonna drive it back, we're gonna come get it from you. Kelly's a real top-notch guy, but if you guys are comfortable with Carl and you had good experience with it.
Yeah, Carl's saying if we have an issue, they come get it, and it's not a burden on us, it's, that they're kind of the same, and I think that's newer philosophy than it used to be.
It is, yeah.
And I think that's been a strong selling point for probably both of them, that they're not burdening the agency with having to get cars delivered and picked up and everything else. Looks like you're about $120 difference in pricing.
Anything you're missing on any of these that you've been wishing for? Other than down the road if you've got some kind of a mounted cellular connection in the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a new discussion, so I didn't,
Sierra Wireless makes an MG70, has AVL, has the ability to connect up to Mach. It has everything. They're about, I don't know, $700 to $1,000, and then the $40 a month from
And,
Verizon or whoever.
in discussion with, I think it was JD and with dispatch and with Nick, the system that the sheriff's office has actually connects to a geocom map.
Yeah.
And so they can locate my vehicle on that map, and then they can also locate the incident. So as I'm driving to it, I can see where the incident is at.
Perfect.
So,
Some of those have the ability to turn your car into a hotspot, so if you were doing a
yes.
command on scene, you could give the password out to other responders. And excellent.
Yeah, so that is brand new technology that I had not heard anything about, so.
I'm ready to move to accept the call bid if all the specs are in order.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Dunn, second by Clemens. Any further discussion? Do a roll call. Supervisor Hoffman?
Aye.
Dunn?
Aye.
Smuck?
Yes.
Fiskus?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Nearing?
Aye.
Reckless and Harrison, Union?
Yes.
Witten?
Yes.
Iowa Falls?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So can I add to that just a second? James? James,
Yes.
with your discussion on that and knowing about that process, would you recommend that as an extra, you said $800 or something
See,
like that?
I don't know what Hardin County's doing, whatever they're doing, you should absolutely go with, because it meshes with everything. I'm just going off what I've put in cars before. So I have no concept as
So-
to how much they're costing,
So, I just want,
but I would absolutely recommend it, yeah. If you wanna get away from the hotspot and the goofy stuff.
well, that's gonna be an
hotspots.
additional cost, because
Yeah.
I didn't quote that in, so,
Dave, are you familiar with how much they're spending to outrig your car with that?
It was under 1,000
Okay,
per squad car that we did it. The plus side is if we go with what we're using, it integrates to what we're using. And with the
Absolutely.
CAD technology, it pops up on our laptop, you hit the button, it's almost like a TomTom or a Garmin, it'll audio route you to the scene of the emergency or whatever it is. So whatever we do would be where it's compatible with what we currently are running. It would make no sense to go off a
Is that
different
something we
direction.
could fund through the 911 money that we have?
I think it would, I don't know that it would be inappropriate. You know, it benefits the responders
benefits response.
as
Right.
much
So
as
we could-
anything, so.
And it's dispatching, it's
Right.
helping determine the
Right, yeah.
location and the
Right,
route.
right.
Yeah, I think we could discuss that and
If there's a way to fund it through that, I know we're not in that meeting right now, but I think that would be a good,
and if that's something we have to decide on down the road, the hotspot works for the time being. You know, all of ours were installed after the fact. They come up for one day and install them, so.
The only thing that's not in there, and I don't think I handed it out. Did I hand you out a radio sheet? The radio from RC Systems is $2,000. I thought I
put
made
that on
copies
next
of it.
month's
I didn't set
911
that?
board meeting.
Yeah, because we could do that through the 911.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be, you know, for the communications and that anyway, so.
can't we just break the window in the existing vehicle and take it out and make it a Franklin County problem?
We got a
Little
sign-
police report, I don't know.
we got a sign.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my quote. It was I think it was $2,400 for radio. And that would be a single radio with two control heads. So one in the back and one in the front. Because when you're in the back working, then you've got the radio right there. So I need approval on that too. It'd be a Kenwood radio.
I would probably be more inclined to think that would be a 911.
Put that in 911.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a communications, you're getting dispatched, you're being dispatched, same as fire
That'd be
department.
like every town that gets $3,000, that would be.
Right, yeah, that would be
Okay.
my thought, because you're
Yeah.
being, it's used for dispatching or dispatching to scenes and
Okay.
communicating, so that'd be my recommendation.
Okay. All right.
Listen, all right, we have new business services. Item number 8, sign for building property, building/property.
So as you guys know, that building has no signage on it at all. Dave was just over there this evening before we came over here. There is room to be able to do like an elevator, because you go back about 6 feet from the sidewalk, maybe just a little more than that. And there's like a stone, there's a rock garden and the flagpole and the dedication plate there. And then that is where a brick wall is at, or a concrete wall is at, and then there's grass area. And to make it so that we only had to do one sign, we could do Dave and I looked at this, and we could actually do it as a sign that would sit kind of diagonal. Put a long,
I'm gonna go down the street a little so you can, don't touch it, for God's sake. Sorry, I jumped streets on you, give me a second. There you go.
and put it diagonal right here in this grassy area, so that you can see it kind of from this street and you can see it from this street? Or do we want to do stenciling on both sides of the building? I think the sign would be more professional looking.
The original intent, when Doug brought the plans over 200 years ago, was that there would be a somewhat lit, individual lettered sign across the front. I'm gonna call it halo lighting, where it's lit from the back.
Yeah.
But that was just the original design of the building. The world has moved on from that, but
Well, what I'm saying is a sign, you know, it's probably about 6 feet, 6 by 4, and just, so what the sign would be is exactly the same logo and signage is on the side of the truck. What we're trying to do as a state association is get the
brand recognition.
brand recognition out there, so it'd be Iowa Emergency Management, Hardin County, and then have the address of the office there. That's, but we can do it as, and I'm not sure, so as I saw the plans, as I looked up, was going through files, some of the plans that Doug had was that it'd say Emergency Operations Center, but I don't think we want to label it as the Emergency Operations Center. I think we just label it as Emergency Management. And then we do whatever we need to in that building.
The EOC is inside as needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's storage, there's an office, there's training, it's a training room. I mean, when, you know, you put a flyer out and it's gonna be at the Emergency Management Building,
Yeah.
then it doesn't.
Because right now, you pull into this town, and tell somebody go to the EOC, there's truly nothing identifying it.
Would it seem right? Is that the right address? Does anybody know 1098?
It's 1031, I got corrected.
1031. Okay.
Are there any street numbers on the building?
Nope.
Nope.
That's not 911 compliant.
Well,
It's gonna burn down.
yeah, there's nothing. It's, I did put I found a sign in some stuff that said emergency management. And so I taped that in the bottom of the window in the front door, but that's
A little hard to see from the road.
the only thing there. There's no numbers, no nothing. And for post office, it does need, I mean, postal, it needs a number on the building. And that, if you look at that door, can you see the north door or the
Yeah.
west door?
Yeah.
We could put the number right above the door.
But you're in Edgington address,
That's
correct?
yeah, yeah, not itching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd have to be on the front, so.
We still pay for $5.
And that's simple, we can just get some big numbers and put that on so that it's compliant.
That'd be a start. I'd like to see bids on the two, the standalone sign or something on the,
Okay.
on the wall.
All right, we can do that.
And the sign would have to be illuminated, of course, or if it's standing out front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go to a computer sign that we have changed the signage or anything on. I think just a flat sign with a light over the top of it that says emergency management.
A marquee, scrolling marquee.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Time and temperature?
Yeah.
So I'll get both ways.
Any further discussion? All right, number 9, coordinator update.
Okay. Yeah, I've been busy the last 3 weeks, going on my 4th week, but I've made town celebrations in Hubbard. I think it's Hubbard. Yeah, Hubbard and Alden. Got New Providence this weekend. It's on my calendar to be at all of them. Finally got business cards made, and I've been doing a lot of talking to people on the street as I go around. And I'll still be moving through all the rest of those, and then I'll be working, at least talking to the fair board about working with them during the fair event. And I found their fair board, the fair plan is over there in a notebook, so I'll have a discussion with the fair board and see if that's see how current it is. The next thing is the basic plan and ESFs. So I was compliant in Franklin County with exercises and all of that. When I moved to Hardin County, we're not compliant for the EMPG grant because the coordinators to participate in 3 exercises. In Stockton, Steve Warren, we can get by with doing workshops. So we can call 3 meetings, work on the basic plan and on the ESFs that need submitted, 2, 5, and 10, I believe. I can call meetings with the fire department, because ESF 2 is, well, that's communications. 5, I think, is emergency management, so we can bring that back in here, but we can make it a workshop, and that will work to meet the specifications to be done by September 30. So, plan on seeing a couple of invitations to meetings. The other thing is that the fire departments, I got all of their information for their chiefs, and they're all getting emails now on the weather updates. So when severe weather from National Weather Service, when they bring the EMAs into the loop on that, that gets sent out to all the fire department, EMS, law enforcement, and as soon as I find it on the county email server, I will send it out to all the county employees as well. So that update goes out, so that everybody's aware that we're expecting ugly weather. And the last thing is residency. I haven't heard anything back today, but we put a bid in on a house in Ackley. It has some issues to meet code. The sewer system is out of code because they've connected groundwater sump pump to the sewer, and then the sewer also has collapsed out in the yard, so it only partially drains. So we had to send back to, we put a bid in on it, and then when we found this out after the inspections, we sent back that they have to pay $15,000 for sewer repairs because it's out of Iowa code compliance. So we'll see how that goes. Apparently it's an old older guy, he's 90-something, lives up in South Dakota, doesn't do technology at all, so they're having to send somebody. They're having to call the realtor. The realtor here is Greenbelt Bank, I think, but they're having to find a realtor up there that can go to his house and try and explain the paperwork and explain why he's gonna have to pony up this money. So it's dragging the process a little bit, but it's a really nice house. It's out of the floodplain. We were looking at a house, it ended up in the floodplain, and as soon as I called the insurance guy, insurance for a house in Ackley, Iowa, that's a block away from the creek, is $2,500 a year for flood insurance alone. So I now know why when the flood insurance program changed, everybody screamed foul. So.
What are the odds of us getting any rain?
All right, that's the only updates I have for you. I'm working already with Wink Corporation here in town. They asked for a safety briefing because who's the company that owns them?
Rust-Oleum.
Thank you. Rust-Oleum is requiring that they do a safety training, so I went out there today. That's scheduled for July. The school, Dr. Z is the way the email came. Dr. Adam Zemler called me, and that meeting is set up for next week to go over school plans with him. And then the paper called me, and we're doing an interview tomorrow. Lydia?
Oh, that's Eldora's new editor.
Yeah.
We already said that you were hired when you got hired and reported on that. I didn't think we needed to beat a dead horse.
Wow, all right.
We'll do a personality
Thank you.
on your 1-year anniversary. We'll do a full personality profile.
Scenic living communities.
Oh, yeah, scenic living communities, the assisted living and such up there. I will be going up there in the next week or so and schedule, they want to do a drill amongst all of their facilities up there, so I'll be going up to schedule a drill with them. It's part of the requirements, so. I did meet with Public Health the other night. Public Health wanted to know about how, if measles outbreak happened, how Public Health would match up with emergency management and the federal stockpile. Had to give them the sad news that measles doesn't qualify for the national stockpile of meds and ventilators and things like that, but it would be a local emergency that the Board of Health would have to handle, so. That's it.
Any questions for Thomas regarding the update? Okay. The next one I really find intriguing, skip July.
It's up to you guys. What we found in Franklin County is July is a tough month to get everybody, but I'm more than happy to meet in July. It's just, you've got 911 scheduled, so it can be right after the 911.
Well, on that note, if there's nothing to be agenda for 911, or anything to be agenda for this, we can put out the email that we don't meet. I mean, if nothing else, we have one set.
The only thing that's gonna be would need to be on the agenda is the radio and the
Wireless modem, cellular modem.
AVL process.
I was gonna say, we're talking back here, how long do you think it'll be before the vehicle is ready to be picked up?
Don't know. I'll need to call them tomorrow. I can send an email out to you and update
Because
you.
if the lead time is months, then yeah, July doesn't matter anymore.
Well, as we've discussed at previous meetings, like Bryce just raised, we've talked about, we've allotted the monies for the grant applications.
Bring the
So-
receipt in.
Yeah, so we don't need to continuously approve those, we've allocated the monies for those projects. So as long as it falls within the parameters of that, we don't have to approve it. He just has to submit the application
There you go.
and provide the invoice. So the only thing would be the AVL, which you know,
That's not necessarily right up front.
yeah. So I would say if we don't have anything agendaed for the month of July, we'll put out the email that, you know, if something does come up, obviously, we've got a date and time set, but we don't have to meet.
It's usually just a tough, I mean, historically, for us, it was tough to get a quorum.
Any other business? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Dunn, second. Second by Bear. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.